in the Renegade Immortal. If we're talking about the people Wang Lin feared or respected the most, then Tuosun and the All-Seer Tian Yunzi are definitely at the top of the list. One is a mastermind who schemes across the heavens, the other, a red-haired man whose strength was nearly unmatched during the mid-stage eras. The All-Seer manipulated Wang Lin so thoroughly that Wang Lin began to doubt his own existence. Even when he believed he had escaped that old monster's control, he would always find himself back on the old man's chessboard. Tu Sen, on the other hand, hunted Wang Lin relentlessly for 1,000 years. This red-haired beauty was the one being Wang Lin's first wife feared the most. Their cat-and-mouse relationship when chasing the other fleeing was both tragic and darkly comedic. If we look only at the animation's portrayal, Tuosun might appear more imposing, but in reality, the difference in power between these two is like heaven and earth. Comparing their power 3 stages. Stage 1, when Wang Lin first joined the All-Seer sect, heaven-defying sect. What about Tuosun ancient god realm? Tuosun is the ancestor of the 8-star ancient gods. He was born from the evil thoughts of ancient god Tuosun formed when Tuosun cultivated the last flow split soul technique and inherited Tuosun's will. In the original novel, chapter 459, Opening of the Vermilion Bird's Tomb, it stated that Tuosun's strength at that time was roughly equivalent to a 5-star ancient god, comparable to a human cultivator in the Queenie realm to pure Nirvana realm. Later, after obtaining the ancient god blood sword from Chen Funk, the divine blood infused within the blade allowed him to recover to around a 6-star ancient god, equivalent to shattered Nirvana realm or heaven man decline tribulation for a human cultivator. 2. About the All-Seer Tian Yunzi, his clone in the Immortal's cave world. For those unfamiliar with the original novel, the All-Seer is actually the final boss of Renegade Immortal. His true form is the spirit of the realm-defining compass, the artifact that anchors the reverse god realm. After breaking free from his seal, he manifested as Tao Ancient Basi in the Immortal continent. Possessing half-step treading, heaven half-step, Tao treader strength, the All-Seer that Wang Lin met in the heaven-defying sect was merely one of his clones, a fragment of Tao essence separated from Basi's true body within the cave abode world with strength comparable to a 3rd decline heaven man cultivator mid-stage of the 2nd step. More importantly, the All-Seer regularly devoured and refined the Tao ancients of others. By this point, he possessed nearly 3,000 avatars, controlling the 3,000 great Taos. When fighting seriously, he was practically invincible below the 3rd step. Because of these countless incarnations, destroying the All-Seer completely was nearly impossible. Stage 1, Conclusion. If both fought at full power at this time, the All-Seer would clearly hold the advantage with roughly a 90% chance of defeating Tuosun completely. Stage 2, Mid-stage. About 1,000 years after Tuosun's release, when Tuosun escaped the One Tree region, he directly tore through the barrier separating the cave abode world. Aside from top-tier experts like Long Panzi, founder of the Cultivator Alliance, or an immortal emperor descending personally, almost no one in that realm could stop him. At this point, Tuosun had reached 7 or even 8-star ancient god level, equivalent to the Void Nirvana realm or Void Spirit realm, the 3rd step among human cultivators. Stage 2, Conclusion. If 20 were to face the All-Seer's clone in the cave abode world, the red-haired man could crush that avatar with ease. However, completely eradicating the All-Seer would still be difficult simply because he had too many clones spread across realms. Stage 3, Late Story. After entering the Immortal continent. By this point, the red-haired Tuosun was no longer considered peak tier in the Immortal continent. In contrast, the All-Seer's true body Tao Ancient Basi was the most powerful half-step Tao treader, surpassed only by cultivators who had reached the 4th step. Stage 3, Conclusion. To put it bluntly, at this stage, the All-Seer could probably seal 20 with a single breath. They were on completely different levels. Final summary. The comparison between 20 and the All-Seer depends entirely on which form of the All-Seer we're talking about. Against a cave abode clone, Tuolson still had a chance to shine during the midstory. But against the true body of the Allseer in the immortal continent, Tuolson would be no more than an ant. In Renegade Immortal's power hierarchy half-step, Batrayed is already among the strongest beings short of the fourth step. The two simply don't exist on the same scale. Still, in the grand scheme of Wang Lin's journey, whether it was 20,000-year fury or the Allseer's cold, flawless schemes, both ultimately became stepping stones on Wang Lin's path to supremacy. It was through their relentless pressure that our stone-faced protagonist climbed step by step toward the unparalleled heights of Batrayed. This video will end here. In the Renegade Immortal, Wang Lin was betrayed by his own disciple, the very one he had nurtured with great care. That disciple even tried to kill him, hoping to wipe out the soul-refining sect completely. But in the end, the traitor was crushed to dust by Wang Lin's power. His soul was scattered, and more than 100 million spirits were absorbed into Wang Lin's hand. After entering the land of monster spirits, Wang Lin began rebuilding his strength and restoring what was once the soul-refining sect. As his influence grew, he officially renamed this place the Soul-Refining Tribe. There, Wang Lin accepted two disciples, 13 and Huba. 13 was calm and thoughtful, a young man of remarkable talent. He became Wang Lin's first disciple. Later, Wang Lin discovered another youth named Huba, born from a small tribe, naturally gifted with dual-star monster power, a rare and exceptional trait among his people. Eventually, Huba was subdued by Hua, drank the forgetful decoction, and joined the soul-refining tribe. Thanks to his innate monster strength and extraordinary comprehension. Within just 4 short years, Huba's cultivation advanced rapidly, almost catching up to Hua, reaching the level of a core formation cultivator. Wang Lin believed Huba's potential was extremely rare. If he could reach the spirit-severing stage within 100 years, he might even surpass Hong, one of the greatest talents from the past. Because of that, Wang Lin valued him deeply and personally guided his cultivation. But in the end, Huba betrayed him. He raised his hand against his master, seeking to seize all the souls that Wang Lin controlled. Before that, when Huba was still loyal, he had always shown deep respect toward Wang Lin, even rejoicing whenever he could travel beside his master. After the soul-refining tribe stabilized, Wang Lin decided to leave for the ancient monster city, taking both disciples along. On the day they departed, all the tribe members knelt to bid farewell. 7 days later, the group arrived at the outskirts of the city. 13 remained calm, though waves surged inside his heart. Huba, however, unconsciously knelt before the overwhelming aura of the ancient monster city, then awkwardly forced a look of disdain. Wang Lin simply smiled without saying a word. As the three of them prepared to enter the city, trouble broke out at the gate. The guards, seeing that they refused to queue, blocked their way. Hot-tempered 13 acted instantly. One punch sent a guard flying. The commotion drew the attention of more soldiers who surrounded them from all sides. Tension filled the air, but Wang Lin merely lifted his hand. A surge of overwhelming energy burst forth, blowing away the entire squad of guards in an instant. After entering the city, Wang Lin agreed to take part in a trial organized by the Left General of the city, Yunzi. In that trial, Wang Lin displayed power so immense that even Yunqua's subordinate general, Yun Lihi, was left deeply shocked. By the end of it, Wang Lin was officially appointed commander of the ancient monster city, placed in charge of 10,000 monster soldiers. Later on, at the invitation of Yao Jishu, Wang Lin entered the immortal emperor's cave abode together with her. There, he accidentally drank a drop of immortal essence, causing his spiritual energy to erupt uncontrollably. He fell into a deep coma that lasted for an entire year. When he finally awoke and returned to the military camp, he discovered that both 13 and Huba had vanished without a trace. The camp itself had changed hands. Wang Lin spread his divine sense in all directions, but found no sign of either disciple. A burly man clad in black armor now stood as the new commander. Without a word, Wang Lin walked straight into the camp. His aura pressed down like a mountain, forcing 10,000 monster soldiers to retreat in fear. The armored man tried to stop him, but was instantly obliterated by a single finger of destruction. At that moment, Wang Lin's cultivation clearly revealed itself to be at the soul transformation latage great perfection. He then seized one of his former subordinates, Simian, and used the soul-searching art to uncover the truth. Through that, Wang Lin learned that half a year after he had left, Huba had tried to return to the tribe. However, after clashing with Simian, he had his cultivation crippled and was thrown into the dark prison where he mysteriously disappeared. 13 attempting to rescue him was gravely injured, his bones shattered. At that moment, the black armored commander appeared and took the dying 13 away. When Wang Lin learned the full truth, his fury exploded to the extreme. He unleashed the celestial slaughter art, beheading Simian in a single stroke. From the mouth of the black armored commander, Wang Lin learned that 13's exceptionally strong physique had been offered up to a monster general. Without hesitation, Wang Lin stormed toward the monster general's palace to rescue his disciple. He knew full well that this act meant declaring war against the entire heavenly demon province. Yet, he didn't care. For Wang Lin, cultivation was not just the pursuit of immortality. It was about preserving one's heart. If fear caused one to betray their own Tao heart, then the path of immortality would lose all meaning. That was Wang Lin's creed. There are things one must do and things one must never do. Alone, he charged into the palace, breaking through 6 heavily guarded gates. With the soul flag in one hand and the demonizing finger in the other, he tore through the defenses like a storm, slaying tens of thousands of monster soldiers and even killing high-ranking monster cultivators. Amidst the blood and chaos, Wang Lin realized a harsh truth. Even immense personal strength had its limits in the land of monster spirits. When facing a vast army linked by formation, their combined demonic force was nearly endless. He was forced to burn through immortal jades continuously to replenish his spiritual energy. By the time he reached the 3rd gate, 5 late soul transformation elders and thousands of soldiers surrounded him, forming a deadly encirclement. To break free, Wang Lin unleashed his ultimate technique, the Finger of the Yellow Springs, a move taught to him by Situ Nan. Its power neared that of an immortal art. One strike shook the heavens and the earth. The 5 elders were blasted back the gate, shattered completely. Like an unstoppable force, Wang Lin smashed through the 2nd layer and rushed toward the final gate. But standing before it was the 1st commander under the left general's command. Even so, his might could not compare to the terrifying pressure of the Finger of the Yellow Springs. Finally, the left general Yun Lei appeared personally. He unleashed the 10-layered ice fist, intent to clash head-on with Wang Lin's Finger of the Yellow Springs. The two forces collided in a cataclysmic explosion. Shock waves swept across 10 miles. The ground quacked and space itself distorted. At the center of the storm, Wang Lin stood silently amidst the swirling dust. His gaze locked coldly on the powerful monster general. His voice was calm, yet it pierced the chaos like thunder. "Where is my disciple?" Yun Li sneered and replied that he required 18 powerful bodies to forge a divine weapon. And among them was 13 who had not yet been refined. After a brief silence, Yun Li offered a deal. He would overlook Wang Lin's slaughter of his soldiers and the destruction he caused. But in 3 months, Wang Lin must accompany him to the capital of the Heavenly Demon Province to assist in a battle between generals for promotion. To show good faith, Yun Li waved his hand. From within a pocket of divine space, he released 13, who was unconscious but physically unharmed. He further promised that if Wang Lin helped him achieve a top 3 ranking in the coming battle, he would petition the Monster Emperor to grant Wang Lin the title of Left General commanding 10,000 troops of his own. Wang Lin said nothing. He simply nodded in agreement. Afterward, he took 13 and immediately descended into the dark prison beneath the ancient monster city, hoping to find any trace of Huba. But even after his divine sense swept through every corner, he found nothing. No aura, no trace, as if Huba had vanished from existence itself. With a long sigh, Wang Lin left the prison behind. Wang Lin brought 13 back to the soul-refining tribe. The place had changed greatly. Its aura was solemn and oppressive. Souls flickered faintly in the air. Hidden centuries lurked in the shadows. And for 10 miles around, the tribe layers of spiritual defenses could be felt. In the sky, Thick soul mist gathered like dark clouds swirling with boundless resentment. Wang Lin's return shook the entire tribe. Oh! Young Hua was the first to rush out to greet him, his face filled with emotion. Every tribe member dropped to their knees, shouting in unison, their voices merging into a roaring tide of reverence and joy. Wang Lin stayed for 3 days to restore order. He used his spells to awaken 13 from his coma, and through the young man's halting words, he pieced together what had happened during the year he was gone. When 13 spoke of Huba, Wang Lin could not help but sigh. Huba had vanished mysteriously in the dark prison, and there was something deeply strange about it. Even with Wang Lin's cultivation of the late soul transformation, great perfection realm, and his divine sense sweeping through the ancient monster city, he found not even a trace of Huba's aura. Huba had cultivated the soul refining art which Wang Lin himself had taught him. Every soul refined through that art was by nature bound to Wang Lin's control. Yet now there was nothing, no response, no link, as if Huba had been erased from existence. There were only two possibilities. Either Huba had perished or he was in a place so strange that it completely severed his connection to the mortal world. Having done all he could, Wang Lin set aside his search and focused on the future. Looking at 13, he remembered the purpose of bringing both disciples to the ancient monster city. It had been a test. If they passed, he would impart higher-level divine abilities. For Huba, he had planned to teach the soul extraction art. For 13, a different path awaited. Wang Lin took out a jade slip shimmering with her sure light. Within it was a powerful body-refining technique called the Giant Spirit 9 Refinements. He erased the final 3 layers and transmitted only the first 6 to 13. Overwhelmed, 13 trembled, kneeling and kowtowing deeply. He swore eternal loyalty to Wang Lin that for the rest of his life he would follow only his master's will. Wang Lin nodded calmly and ordered him to remain behind to protect the tribe. While Wang Lin was planning for the trip's future, Huba was enduring a fate far from ordinary. In a vast, endless desert said to have been an ancient battlefield, the sands were stained crimson, and the air rare of death. There, a mysterious black-robed old man had saved Huba's life and brought him to this desolate land. The old man seemed deeply intrigued by Huba's soul refining art, calling it an unorthodox yet wondrous cultivation method. He told Huba that if he could refine all the ancient souls sleeping beneath this battlefield, his soul flag would gain unimaginable power. Grateful, Huba believed this man to be his savior. The old man even taught him new techniques and methods to strengthen his cultivation. However, when news reached him that Wang Lin had returned to the ancient monster city and had even rescued 13, Huba's gratitude twisted into something darker. The bitterness that had been festering in his heart flared into hatred. He remembered the endless days in the dark prison, waiting for his master to save him, waiting until hope turned to despair. In his eyes, all his suffering had been caused by Wang Lin, who swore that he would never again bow to anyone. One day he would find Wang Lin and personally tear him apart. Solution: a spell that would ignite every drop of Huba's life force, turning him into a demon god, a living weapon doomed to burn out in a single battle. The old man understood how miraculous the soul refining art was. Yet, he still sensed flaws within it. Flaws he wanted to exploit. Huba was nothing more than an experiment to him. If the experiment succeeded, the old man would personally travel to the soul refining tribe to seize more resources. After years of training under the forbidden arts, Huba's power surged to terrifying levels. With hundreds of millions of souls at his command, he arrived before Wang Lin, hatred burning in his eyes. He shouted out his suffering, his resentment, and all the pain he had endured in the dark prison, blaming it all on Wang Lin. His voice trembled with rage as he vowed to kill his former master, to torture his soul, and to annihilate the soul-refining tribe. Wang Lin only stood silently, eyes calm, as if seeing straight through Huba's heart. Then in a cold, steady tone, he spoke. You think it's hatred that drives you, but deep inside you only crave to destroy all others who know the soul-refining art, so you alone can possess it. Those words struck like lightning. Wang Lin saw clearly Huba's newfound strength was not born of true cultivation, but of forbidden sorcery fueled by his life essence. It was a power destined to burn bright and die fast, a flame already fading. Infuriated, Huba roared and unleashed his army of souls. Hundreds of millions of ghostly forms swarmed toward Wang Lin like a storm. But Wang Lin simply raised his hand. A radiant rune appeared in the air, and instantly every soul froze mid-flight. Then, one by one, they knelt before Wang Lin, radiating pure reverence. Huba's face turned pale. He tried to forcefully command the souls again, but Wang Lin's divine sense swept forth, and the truth was laid bare. Every single soul that Huba had refined still carried Wang Lin's original soul imprint. Like children recognizing their true ancestor, the spirits abandoned Huba and returned to orbit around Wang Lin. In an instant, everything Huba had built over 10 years crumbled. All his efforts, all his hatred reduced to nothing. Despair twisted his features as he let out a final mad scream and charged at his master. Wang Lin sighed softly, eyes filled with pity. He lifted his hand, summoning the 10 billion soul flag. Countless souls merged into one colossal spirit giant whose palm crashed down like a divine judgment. With a single strike, both Huba's body and soul were shattered, turned to dust. The rebellion born of betrayal ended there in silence and ruin. And that, Wang Lin said softly, is the end of this story. This video will end here.